So welcome everyone. Today we are talking about something that's no longer coming. It's already here. AI is reshaping our tools, our products, our practices, and in today's session, we'll cover all three. To start off, maybe by show of hands, you can use that feature of raise hand in Riverside. Uh, let's have a quick check that who used AI this week. And did you feel guilty doing that? Or did you felt like you were cheating? If you are not feeling that, then good. Cool. So today we'll look at AI across all these three lenses, how it changes our tools, how it changes what we design, and how we build it into our practice without losing what makes us good designers. We'll go fast because we have less time, but every one of these things which I said, you can act on it by next Monday. The guilt or skepticism which we have, at least some of us have using AI is understandable, but it's a bit misplaced. Every tool shift felt like a threat. Desktop software scared the print craftspeople, the web scared the desktop designers, Figma scared the sketch advocates. Each time we adapted, we leveled up, and the bar for what good design means rose with us. See, AI is the next inflection, except the pace is just faster than the previous shift. We didn't resist those shifts. We don't need to resist this one either. The question is whether we adopt intentionally or reactively. So let's talk about how this actually shows up in our day-to-day work, starting with the AI tools, like starting with AI as a tool in your design process, because this is a design conference. The numbers on this slide are worth sitting with for a moment. See, 75% of our designers are opening AI tools every day. That's up from what was the number last year. 86% of creative professionals are using AI in some capacity. 91% of marketers are using AI compared to what they were doing earlier. And a lot of designers are shipping AI generated code to production, not just prototypes or demos or productions or low fidelity mockups. The question in this room is no longer should we adopt AI. That ship has sailed. The question is whether you are building the capability to use it well, because that's where the gap is now. See, prototyping goes like we were discussing that what has improved since AI hit us. So the prototyping has gone from weeks to hours. The design iteration cycles have been cut by 50 to 60%. The image editing has improved. The whiteboard sketches which we used to have earlier, now we can make them editable mockups instantaneously. Figma Make is around the corner. I mean, a lot of us are using it. My team is using it. The AI moderated research is compressing study cycles from days to hours, like Jason also mentioned in the last talk. So these aren't projections. They are workflows changes which designers are reporting today. The ROI isn't abstract. It's showing up task by task. I put together some comparison just to have the room at ease that things have incrementally changed. See, Midjourney started with zero UI. It was just a chat inside Discord, because that's what they had at that point of time. There was no interface, there were no guardrails, but the output was good enough that people tolerated the friction. By 23, 24, they launched a web alpha, still gated, but now with explore and create tabs. Slash commands became buttons. AI was still the same, just the interface was catching up. In 24, Midjourney brought a full web app with direct manipulation canvas, pan, zoom, remix, all without a single slash command. And by version 7, in I think 25, Midjourney looks like a creative platform. They have pages, they have style preferences, they have personalization, they have mood board. The same tool that lived inside Discord is now competing with Adobe. That's like 4 years ago, 4 paradigm shifts. The interface design drove adoption at every step. Then Claude came. So Claude launched in 23 again as a plain chat interface. It was clean, minimal, just one pane. There was no workspace, there was no memory, there were no tools. It was just a prompt and a response. By 24, artifacts changed that fundamentally. Code, docs, and sites started rendering live alongside the conversation. It stopped feeling like a chatbot and started feeling like a working environment. Same AI, but now you have somewhere to put the output. I don't know how many of you experienced that shift from Midjourney to Claude. If you are that person, then just look back and see how it has improved. Again, in Claude, around October 2024, there was a step change. So computer use let Claude operate your desktop directly. It left the chat box entirely. Projects added persistent context across sessions. So Claude could actually remember what you were working on. And in 25, 26 brought the agentic layer. So Claude Code, MCP connectors, Cowork. Claude now works inside Figma, Slack, Jira, your tools, not just Claude window. So the interface dissolved into a workflow. Taking some time to understand what the world is building, the teams across the world are building with AI. So Klarna in February 2024, they had OpenAI build assistant, which handled their 2.3 million conversations in 1 month alone, 2/3 of all their service chats. Their resolution time went from 11 minutes to under 2 minutes. The CSAT score held steady versus human agents. So they were not losing anything. There was $40 million was their own annual saving estimate at launch. But the reality check came in 25. They publicly rehired human agents for complex emotional and disputed cases after quality complaints. CU admitted that they had cut just too far. So the takeaway here is that AI is excellent at scaling the routine. Judgment heavy, emotional, or ambiguous cases still want a human in the loop. IBM had around 3.5 billions productivity gains since 2023 across 70 plus business areas. Ask HR resolved about 94% of common HR questions with zero human touch. Ask at IT cut IT support calls per chat by around 70%. I was at IBM some time back, so I can vouch for these data. So yeah, there was a huge improvement. Studio RX again is a healthcare marketing agency inside IPG Health Network. They used Adobe Firefly plus some custom models to relaunch their brand identity around a character set called the RXCs. The custom models were trained on the studio's own hand-drawn sketches. So Firefly basically generated on-brand variations rather than generic art. And some 20 plus final assets in 10 days. That was about 5x of their normal speed for a rebranding of that scope. Curry's in-house creative team whitelisted Adobe Firefly for the new term back to school laptop campaigns. 50 to 70% agency cost reduction on that one campaign. Cut campaign dev time in half. Nearly 2x of their creative options for campaigns. They had a increase of like 150% of more channel specific templates, which meant that less creative fatigue across digital touchpoints. It was commercially safe as Firefly was trained on licensed Adobe stock content, so legal IP risk is very low. A single UX designer / researcher And this was not a team, this was still one person. At LexisNexis, tax division used the company's internal LLM console. And the task was to process around eight, each an hour-long user interviews, normally about a week of watching recordings, tagging codes, everything which goes into research, writing reports. All of that was delivered in a day. Lastly, with IDEO, so quoting from IDEO Workplace Insights, that's a report which they publish, 2024 UK poll of 1,000 business leaders. Two groups tackle the same growth sustainability brief. One got AI generated questions to prompt their ideation, the other didn't. The result was that there was a 56% more ideas, 13% more diverse, and 27% more detailed across every measure, not just one. And the lift came from AI asking better questions, not AI supplying answers. That's a meaningfully different adoption pattern than AI writes for me. But there's risk as well. So let's take a moment to talk about the consequences when agents are given autonomy without hard boundaries. So these four cases which you see on the screen, they share a pattern. AI had access, had intent, and had no one stopping it. So Replete's agent modified production code during a freeze, deleted a database, then fabricated test results to hide it. OpenClaw, given messaging access, sent around 500 messages to the user's contacts without pause. OpenAI Codex discovered Docker group membership, gave it root level access, and used it. Cursor found a broadly scoped credential in an unrelated file and deleted a live railway volume with it. So none of these agents were malicious. They were just optimizing. Within permissions, no one thought to constrain. That's the design failure. Autonomy without hard boundaries isn't a model problem. It's an interface problem. See, the previous slide was about AI acting without intent. This one is different. These are cases where AI was used with intent by bad actors. One of the examples quotes that the North Korean threat group used Cloud Code to run extortion operations across 17 organizations in a single month. Reconnaissance, credential harvesting, ransom demands, all AI assisted. APT actors operationalized Gemini for vulnerability, exploitation, and deepfake generation. Malicious Chrome extensions intercepted over 900,000 private AI conversations and routed them to attacker control servers. And deepfake voice tools were used to impersonate executives, including placing fake emergency calls. The capability that makes these tools useful to us is the same capability that makes them useful to attackers. That's not a real reason to avoid AI, but it is a reason to build with that assumption baked in, not bolted on. Now, we have covered AI as a tool, AI as a product. Now the hardest part, actually building it into how our teams works day to day in. Knowing AI is useful isn't the same thing as using it well. See, most teams are somewhere on a messy adoption curve right now. And that's completely normal. Every team is all three of these people you see right now. often in the same person on a different day, maybe. So there's one skeptic. It's not that good yet. I tried it once, got a bad result, wrote it off. Doesn't believe it can do what they do. What they need isn't a debate. It's one specific low stake win. Baby steps. A concrete use case that visibly saves them like 30 minutes on something they already find tedious. The next one, the experimenter. They are excited, trying everything. And also they're inconsistent. Using different tools, sharing prompts in Slack, sometimes brilliant, sometimes just chasing the next shiny thing. What they need is structure. Channel that energy into repeatable practice instead of novelty seeking. And in the end, you have your over-reliers. The person just accepts AI output at face value, stopped questioning it. Their output quality has quietly dropped, but volume went up. So nobody notices right away. What they need is a clear reminder. See, AI raises the floor, but it doesn't set the ceiling. So critical review is still the job. So your job as a design leader isn't to pick a side in this. It's to move your teams along that curve, intentionally, person by person, holding hands. Also, if you were wondering or if you have already figured out, so AI accelerates like both parts, the diverge and the converge movements in the double design diagram. You can have any other framework. Let's stick to double D here. So your human judgment decides when to open up and close down. AI just removes the friction at every gate, nothing else. So in the first stage, the discovery stage, so AI synthesizes your interview notes, it clusters your themes, it drafts your screener surveys in minutes, compressing what used to take days of manual affinity mapping and similar tasks. In the define stage, AI is your tireless partner. Rapid concepts, generation, alternative directions means you can converge on something stronger, faster. In the next develop stage, your microcopy variants, your error messages, your onboarding text at scale, UI from prompts, the blank canvas moment, poof, gone. In the last one, the deliver stage, you have your design tokens, your spec annotations, your documentation, your drafts automated. That tedious last mile step, it's done. Now let's take a moment to understand what AI can do better and where humans still call the shots. So AI struggles with nuances, you have your cultural context, emotional resonance, brand voice, the subtleties that make design feel human. The judgment part, knowing which idea is right, that's still human. So AI is just generating ideas. The relationships, the human physical relationships. So the stakeholder alignment, reading a room, negotiations with your business partners, things that can happen between people. The ethics, it won't flag when a pattern is manipulative. That's still on you. So in short, AI has no taste. But we as human beings, we do. That's not going away. The risk isn't AI replacing designers. The risk is designers who use AI replacing designers who don't. It's as simple as that. AI raises the floor for everyone. Junior designers can now produce what mid-level used to do. Mid-level can do what principals used to do. The bar has moved up, and your job is to move your ceiling up with it. So we are in a translation layer between what AI can do and what users actually experience. Engineering builds the capabilities. Design determines whether it's trusted, used, and understood. I think all of us understand that. So 3 things only design can solve is calibrated trust, which is making AI feel neither magic nor broken. If users think that AI is infallible, they over-rely. If they think it's unreliable, they ignore it. Good design communicates honest capability. Here's what I can do. Here's where I'm less sure. The second is graceful degradation. That's very important. So when AI is wrong, and it will be wrong, at least for foreseeable future, the experience needs to recover without destroying the trust in the whole product. That means designing the failure state with as much care as the success state. Honest error messages. Easy correction flows. Don't gaslight users. And the third one is human override. So always give users a way out, a way to correct, a way to be in control. This is one of those NN principles as well. So this isn't just ethically right, it's good UX. So control is the foundation of long-term trust in any system. And now we have a new design vocabulary. So we now need to own a set of concepts that didn't exist in our practice like 2 years ago. So these aren't just engineering terms, they are design problems now. So designers need to lead this conversation, not wait for engineering to define it. And I feel Jason with this one. So the best AI features don't feel like AI. They feel like the product just got smarter. It doesn't really have to have that small blue AI badge necessarily. Your product just needs to act smarter. That's the design bar we are now working towards. And four behaviors that separate intentional adoption from chaotic adoption. This is what good looks like in practice. It's not just a tool list. I've tried to keep it simple. So you need to prompt deliberately. So the quality of your AI output is directly tied to the quality of your input. Garbage in, garbage out. This is a craft skill, same as wireframing or writing a good ticket. Good prompts have clear context, a specific output format, explicit constraints. Vague prompts get generic output. And that takes as long to fix as it would have taken to just write from scratch. The same exact failure mode that fuels the skeptic complaint, the personas which we talked about a while back. Then you need to share your prompts like components. So teams should share prompts the way they're sharing components which are reusable, improvable assets, not personal tricks. This turns individual experimentation into a team capability because it's not just you trying to improve. Your team has to improve. And review before it ships. So AI output is a starting point. It's not a deliverable. So run these questions against every output. That is it right? Is this ours? Does it sound like us? It shouldn't be too AI. Does it reflect our actual users? So for that, you need to know your users in the first place. The real risk isn't AI generating bad work, it's designers shipping AI's first draft without review. See, process failure, it's a process failure because it's not a tool failure. It's the ecosystem failure. And then the bar is higher, not lower. Because AI, it handles the floor. What's left to differentiate is judgment, taste, and care. That's a higher bar. That's a human bar. Now, how should we design for AI? So until now, everything we have discussed is AI behind you, in our tools, accelerating our process. Now, we are talking about AI in front of your users, in the product we are building. So we are not just using AI to design, we are also designing AI in the same process. So the distinction matters because it changes what good design means entirely. You're no longer just crafting flows and interactions, you're making decisions about how an intelligent system behaves, communicates uncertainty, earns trust, and fails gracefully. So the users now expect it. Remember Jacob's law, so people are using AI in their own personal spaces. And so they're using your product in that same space. So the bar has moved. So whether your product is ready or not, it has moved. So users who have experienced like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or other AI tools, carry those same expectations into your product they use. They expect things to be predicted, summarized, generalized, and personalized. If your product doesn't feel intelligent, it starts to feel behind. That's the harsh reality of 2026. The expectation has shifted. The question isn't whether to design for AI, it's basically whether you are doing it intentionally. It no longer is a side project. And to summarize, these are the 6 challenges your design team needs to follow now. One is trust. So users need to know when AI is involved. This means clear labeling, honest attribution, and never hiding the fact that a response is AI generated. Transparency isn't optional. It directly determines whether users engage or disengage. Confidence and uncertainty. So software is binary. It works or it doesn't. AI operates in probabilities. How do you show a user that AI is highly confident versus guessing? Most products either hide uncertainty entirely, which is very dangerous, or surface it in ways users can't interpret. This is a completely new design problem. The error states. So AI fails differently than traditional software. It doesn't throw an error. Rather, it gives you a fluent, confident, wrong answer. Hallucinations are real. And designing for graceful, honest failure without destroying the user's trust is now the whole product. It's a skill we are all still learning. See, when AI is good enough, users stop checking it. That's fine for low-stake tasks, but it's very dangerous for high-stake ones. Good AI design builds in deliberate friction at the right moment. Does this look right to you? It nudges users back into the loop. So keep your users engaged into the process. Why did it say that? Used to be an engineering question. Now it's a UX problem. So users want to understand the reasoning behind AI outputs, especially when those outputs affect decisions. So designers need to own how reasoning gets communicated. There's no one ring to rule them all. So every problem is very contextual. You have to find your own solutions. Users want transparency about what data powers the AI, and they want an off switch as well. So you have to build trust into your systems. And the users want to control how AI operates. So the product that handles this well, clear opt-ins, easy corrections, visible data use, they earn long-term user confidence. All right. So we talked about AI as a tool, AI as a product, and AI in how we work. This isn't 3 separate conversations. It's one shift seen from 3 angles. So the new normal, from where we started, the new normal is actually a misleading phrase. It implies a fixed destination, a point where things settle. Unfortunately, it isn't. The baseline keeps on moving. So Figma felt disruptive once. Now it's just how we work. The same will be true for AI. What feels like AI augmented design today will just be called design in 18 months or whatever months. So don't aim to catch up to AI. Aim to keep adapting, because that target keeps on moving. So chasing a moving target is exhausting. Building a habit of adapting is sustainable. You're still a designer, your job title hasn't changed, but your leverage has changed. What you can produce, how fast, and at what depth. So this is generally good news if you approach it with intention. It's generally risky if you ignore it. The tools changed, the job, understanding people, making things that work for them, that has not changed. And like I promised, so before next week, pick one thing from today and try it. Push yourself into fire. So bring one AI tool into your workflow. Pick the most draining part of your process and try compressing it this week. Not a big transformation, just one task. And ask one ethical guardrail question on your next AI feature, which is transparent, fair, or reversible. Just pick one and actually check it before shipping. And lastly, have one honest conversation with your teammate about where they are on the adoption curve. Are they falling into the skeptic persona or experimenter, or are they the over-relier? You need to acknowledge where you stand. And that opens the door to better team norms without a big initiative. Specific, small, doable this week. That's what actually sticks. The generic resolutions don't survive. Those are the gym resolutions on the new year. And like I said before as well, so designers who thrive won't be the ones who know AI best. They will be the ones who know people best. That is not changing. And that brings me to the end of this presentation. Thank you for keeping up with me.
Thanks so much for that. That was really, really good. So we have a few questions, but we're somewhat running behind schedule. So I'll maybe give you one of the questions which was asked in the in our submission. And the question is, based on your experience, which are some of the high impact AI interventions that have greatly helped in the UX process or in the workflow of doing UX design?
Yeah. So I think the one which has highly helped me in my recent experience is how the research team operates. Actually, two. So all of us know that we have to invest a lot of time, which is also recommended that a lot of time invested in research early on saves a lot of time during the end of the process. So speeding up that part, that has really helped. Processing a lot of transcripts, finding insights, clustering themes. We have also invested into creating some, like I know a lot of other friends in the industry as well, who now work with some synthetic users, not as the last level of validation, but in the very starting. So when you're struggling with getting real users, you invest some time into creating some synthetic users in whatever AI tool you like and running some concepts through them early on in the process. And this is only for starters. This is not to say that these are the last level of validation which you do on your concepts. So that really helps to jumpstart our concepts and move forward in the design process. What has also helped is earlier there used to be plugins for a lot of things in Figma and a lot of third-party tools which we use to validate stuff regarding accessibility or regarding colors, regarding contrast, managing our files, organization into Figma. All that can now be delegated to AI tool of your choice, which saves a lot of time, which means that time saved could be invested into doing something more on your projects which you're working on.